walking, biking, scooting through Sacramento, it isn't always as simple as it could or should be. In fact, our city ranks among the most dangerous places for pedestrians, and that makes knowing the rules of the road so important, even more important than ever. The law firm of Ashton and Price joined us to break down the law so we can all move through the city with more awareness and hopefully a bit more peace of mind as we're doing it. Let's welcome attorney Craig Ashton. Good to see you, Craig.
Nice to see you.
Well, first, let's talk just in general legally, the definition of a pedestrian.
So pedestrian is basically anything you can use to get from point A to point B with your own power. So your feet, so walking, running, skateboard, roller skates, etc. When it comes to bicycles, it's different. Those are considered cars, but pedestrian is basically anything you use A to B using your own power.
Okay. Let's talk Freedom to Walk Act. So how does that impact us all here in Sacramento?
So yeah, that was AB 2147. So passed came in effect January 2023. So essentially the idea was that a lot of people were getting cited for jaywalking when they didn't really have a good choice as to where to cross the street, because a lot of times there's not a crosswalk or a walk or don't walk sign. So essentially all that says is that you have to use reasonable care, make sure that there's no oncoming traffic, and then ultimately you're not going to get a ticket if you're jaywalking.
That helps to know. All right, so let's talk about when we cross the crosswalk and walk on the sidewalk. Can we unpack that a little bit in terms of when a pedestrian's walking down the sidewalk? What happens, say, when a vehicle comes in and out of a driveway?
Okay, right. So when you're a pedestrian, you definitely know you have the right of way. When you're in the crosswalk, it says walk. Definitely have the right of way. After that, if it says don't walk, you don't have the right of way. But just because you are now jaywalking doesn't mean a car can run you over. So they can't commit homicide and say it's justifiable because, hey, they were jaywalking. So the car has to use reasonable care, and so do you. When it comes to being on the sidewalk, you got the right of way. So if a car is coming out of a driveway and you're on the sidewalk and you get hit, even though you didn't see the car and didn't see you, it's going to be the car's fault because you have the right of way. However, it doesn't do you any good if you're in ICU as a result of having the right of way and you get hit by a car. So just use common sense and always pay attention and be defensive when you're walking, because you don't want to have a great legal case and end up in the hospital for 30 days.
No, try to avoid that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get back to crosswalks. So when you're using the crosswalk, what is legally protected there?
Right, so basically streets for cars. Crosswalks are for pedestrians. So if you push the button that says walk and you got a green or a yellow, you have the right of way, which means that you have the right to be there, not the car. So if you get hit in the crosswalk, it's definitely always going to be the car's fault. If you are crossing the street against the walk sign, so now you're jaywalking, then you don't have the right of way. This is for cars now. But just because you're in the middle of the street doesn't mean a car can hit you. They have to use reasonable care to avoid you. So essentially it's just common sense. So don't cross against a don't walk sign. And if you do cross against a don't walk sign, make sure that there's no oncoming traffic. Make sure there's no immediate hazard. And then if you're in a vehicle, you just can't hit somebody because they're jaywalking. You got to use reasonable care and avoid them if you can.
We love that Sacramento is considered bike-friendly for the most part city, lots of bike lanes. Let's talk about bicyclists and also in terms of wearing a helmet as well.
Right, so I know about this because I'm a 5-time full Ironman finisher, so 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and a marathon in the same day. So I've ridden all over Sacramento. So bottom line, when you're on the bike, in the bike lanes, a pedestrian should be on the left-hand side on a bike trail. If there is a pedestrian area that's not in the bike lane and your pedestrians, stay out of it. And basically, pedestrians are yielded to by bikes. And if you're walking around Lake Natoma, horses have the right of way, then pedestrians, then bikes.
First horses, I learned
First
something
horses,
about that. Okay, let's talk about e-bikes because those become more popular. How are those defined legally?
So right, so bikes are looked under the vehicle code, it's just like a car. So you got to ride with traffic, for sure. So people make this mistake all the time. They ride against traffic. They think it's safer because they can see oncoming traffic. No, because somebody's pulling out a driveway, they're looking left for oncoming traffic, you're coming from the right. Vehicle code looks like you're going down the wrong way in a Ford Explorer. So when it comes to e-bikes, there's 3 different classes. One is 20 miles an hour assisted pedaling. The second one is a class 2, which is up to 20 miles an hour without pedaling. And then the class 3 is speedometer up to 28 miles an hour, you don't have to pedal. The only difference is that if it goes 28 miles an hour, you have to be over 16 and wear a helmet. For all bikes, any age can ride them as long as you're doing it safely. If you're under 18, you got to wear a helmet.
Good. Any final takeaways you want us to keep in mind?
Bottom line is, as a personal injury attorney, gosh, we get millions of dollars for people. Just got done with a case of $1.5 million for a pedestrian got hit by a car. They would trade that money in a heartbeat for their health back. So don't give yourself a great legal case and give up your health. Basically, if you're a pedestrian, use common sense and walk defensively, because just because you have a great legal case, the car doesn't care, and it's going to hurt. And if you have to call me, that means there's something serious.
Great. Thanks so much for your time.
But thank you very much.
And all the expertise. Appreciate that.
Safe Halloween for everybody, because you're going to be walking.
Definitely be safe out there. And you know, streets can be risky, but with the right knowledge, you can get the help to navigate everything with confidence. So visit ashtonandprice.com or call 916-786-7787 for legal advice and great information like that.